Good evening. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Newport News School Board for Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. On behalf of the members of the school board and Dr. Mitchell, I welcome each of you present this evening and those who are watching on TV and online. A quorum is present to transact the business of the school division. We have one member of the school board who wishes to participate in our meeting electronically. As indicated in Board Policy BEE, electronic participation in meetings from remote location, the board member must make such a request, which she has done, cite the reason for remote attendance, and the board must approve the request by majority vote of the members present. So school board members, Dr. Terry Best has made such a request. Dr. Best shares that due to a personal family matter, she is unable to attend in person and requests board approval to participate electronically. Dr. Best, are you with us? She's not. Okay. We'll wait just a moment and see if we get her. Otherwise, we will go ahead and move on. Nope, not at this time. All right. So we will, since we cannot get Dr. Best on the line, we will begin tonight's meeting with the invocation and pledge to the flag. And here to do the honors is our school board student representative, Raquel Manadero.
All right. Good evening, Dr. Mitchell and the school board. If y'all don't know, my name is Raquel Manadero. I have been the student representative for this past year, and I just graduated from Edgefield High School. Yes.
Congratulations.
So I chose a poem by Rudyard Kipling, and it's titled If. Here it goes. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for when they're doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves, to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave life to broken, and stoop up and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Wow. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right. So the Next item on tonight's agenda is school board recognitions. But before I go to that one, I do want to recognize in the audience, we have our Vice Mayor, Curtis Bethany, joining us this evening. Thank you for taking time to join us this evening. So if you would, Dr. Mitchell, please join me at the podium.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Brooks, and I have the honor of presenting our recognitions for the evening. Our first honorees are ambassadors of Newport News Public Schools' diverse music curriculum. They lead an award-winning music program. Building the successful music department takes a combination of dedicated teachers, supportive administrators, and parents, committed students, and high standards. This evening, we are proud to recognize and celebrate the accomplishment of high school music program that earned a top honor. The Heritage High School Music Program was awarded the Virginia Music Educators Association 2023 Blue Ribbon Award. So present this evening to accept the recognition on behalf of the music program are choral director Arcelia Simmons. If you would please come forward. And band director Jameer Brown. We would also like to invite the proud principal of Heritage High School to please come forward, Dr. Erling Hunter. The Virginia Music Educators Association Blue Ribbon Award is the highest award given to school music programs and recognizes excellence in band and choral performances. To earn this designation, all music disciplines in a school must receive a rating of superior during the state assessment. Each of the top performing groups from every ensemble course taught at Heritage earned a superior rating by performing 2 pieces from approved grade music lists. All performing groups had to sight read or sight sing to be eligible for the award during the association's district concert performance assessment, which is not an easy achievement. So in addition to their performances during the district events, the Heritage Choral Ensemble and the band have performed at numerous events, showcasing their talents and bringing honor and pride to the Heritage School community. Heritage High School is a first-time Blue Ribbon Award winner. So joining us this evening to celebrate this honor are members of the Heritage team and the they call them the 5800 family, and the District Supervisor of Fine and Performing Arts, Ms. Katie Sheehan Smith. So congratulations once again, and please join me in one more round of applause. You can stay for a photo. Newport News Public Schools athletics program has had a successful year, and tonight we have the honor and privilege of recognizing some outstanding student athletes who may seem familiar, as they have once again achieved great success during the spring athletics season. During the Virginia High School League State Outdoor Track Championships held at Liberty University earlier this month, the members of the Heritage High School girls track team captured the state title and individual titles after having won several individual titles for state indoor track this past February as well. So please join us in congratulating the members of the Heritage High School girls outdoor track team. Madison White, would you please come forward? Ms. White, now a graduate of Heritage, earned 3 individual state titles in addition to the team championship. She is the spring state champion in the 100-meter, 200-meter, and 400-meter dash. Ms. White set meet records in the 200-meter dash with a time of 23.16 seconds and the 400-meter dash with a finishing time of 53.79 seconds. Wow, that's something. Our next honoree is Heritage graduate Majane Solomon, who earned 2 state titles at this year's Spring Track Championships. Ms. Solomon, would you please come forward? And I said she's not here this evening, but I'd like to share with you her accomplishments. Ms. Solomon captured the state championship in the 100-meter hurdles event with a time of 14.81 seconds and was a member of the state championship team 4x400-meter relay. She also placed 7th in the 300-meter hurdles event and participated in the girls' long jump event. So, Ms. Solomon, we applaud you. Our next honoree is state champion Sanai Wooden. Ms. Wooden, would you please come forward? Ms. Wooden earned 2 state titles. Ms. Wooden is also a recent graduate and was a member of the 4x400-meter state championship relay team. She also earned a 4th place finish in the 200-meter dash with a time of 25.13 seconds and contributed to the team's victory. Our next honoree is a 2023 graduate, Sabria Wooden. Ms. Wooden, would you please come forward? Ms. Sabria Wooden was a member of the 4x400-meter relay team. She also placed 4th in the 800-meter run with a time of just over 2 minutes and 21 seconds. That's incredible. So please congratulate also rising Heritage sophomore, Jalea Beasley. Is Ms. Beasley present? Ms. Beasley is recognized for her contributions in earning the state title for her performance on the 4x100-meter relay team. So they are very fast. Our next honoree is Anasty Brown. Anasty, would you please come forward? And I apologize. Ms. Brown, a rising junior at An Achievable Dream Middle and High School, also helped the team earn the state title as a member of the 4x100-meter relay team. And we're glad you're still with us for next year. We'd also like to congratulate Tyler Clark. Is Ms. Clark present this evening? She is not. Okay, Ms. Clark is a rising junior at Heritage High School, and she is a member of the 4x400-meter relay team and served as a member of the 4x100-meter relay team during the spring finals. And rounding out the team championship is Nicole Lee Simmons. Is Miss Lee Simmons here? She is not. Oh, congratulations, serving our country. We appreciate that. Miss Lee Simmons graduated from Heritage this month and contributed to the team's victory as a member of the 4x100-meter relay team. Now, these students are truly a testament to athletic ability, sportsmanship, honor, and scholarship. And we would also like to recognize their coaches and ask that you please come forward. Coach Jacqueline Bateman. Coach Chantel Powell, and Coach Raymond Pollard. Let's give another round of applause to our state champions, student athletes, and their coaches. Now, joining our student athletes to celebrate this success are their family members. If you are here, would you please stand to be recognized? I think most of, oh, wonderful, thank you. And their school administrators, again, Principal Dr. Erling Hunter and Athletic Director Jamie Plucker. If you would please stand. And Mr. Lee Martin, who's our Director of Athletics for the school division. Thank you. You will stay for a photo. Yes. We have one more special award this evening. Our next recognition this evening is an acknowledgement of service for Raquel Manadero, the student representative to the school board. Ms. Manadero, would you please join us? In honor of her distinguished service to the school board and Newport News Public Schools, she is receiving a resolution, an award, and a gift. The resolution reads in part, Newport News School Board Resolution of Recognition presented to Raquel M. Manadero, the 2022-2023 student representative to the school board of Newport News. Whereas the Newport News School Board approved in 2004 the creation of the position of student representative to the school board to increase board awareness of the views of students and to provide a peer with whom students could share ideas for improving education. And whereas Raquel M. Manadero, a senior at Minchville High School, was elected according to the approved procedures by members of the Student Advisory Group on Education, and whereas Ms. Manadero served in this capacity from July 2022 through June of 2023, faithfully attending meetings of the school board, and whereas Ms. Manadero served as the facilitator to the Superintendent's High School Student Advisory Group on Education, also known as SAGE, whereas Ms. Manadero diligently fulfilled all of the duties of the position of student representative while also continuing to excel in her advanced coursework, also serving as the Deputy Group Commander of Minchville High School's Air Force Junior ROTC program, the Volunteer Committee Leader in the National Honor Society, a member of the Spanish Honor Society, a member of the Varsity Cross Country Team, Indoor and Outdoor Track Teams, and Girls Soccer Team, and volunteering as a literary tutor in her church's English for Speakers of Other Languages program. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the School Board of Newport News that Raquel M. Manadero is to be highly commended for exemplary service, dedication, and commitment during her tenure as a student representative to the school board. Ms. Manadero, thank you for your service to the school board. On behalf of the school board and the interim superintendent, congratulations on your graduation and best wishes on your next chapter and beyond, which we understand is the Naval Academy. So we are very proud. So thank you. Joining Ms. Manadero this evening are her family members, her parents. We ask that you would please stand to be recognized. And we thank you for all that you've done to share this wonderful young lady with us this year. We appreciate it. And if we can have a photo.
And I think the rest of the school board would really like to take a picture with you. Is that okay? At this time, we will take a 7-minute break so that our honorees and their families may leave if they desire to do so. And during this time, our viewing audience will be able to enjoy this month's School Board Spotlight. Our meeting will resume following the Spotlight segment. So thank you very much for coming out this evening.
Some very special readers visited students at Denby Early Childhood Center and Katherine Johnson Elementary to celebrate the Month of the Military Child. Bilingual Air Force personnel from Joint Base Langley Eustis visited students enrolled in the Dual Language Immersion program at both schools. Dual Language Immersion is a unique learning experience at 5 Newport News schools that allows enrolled students to learn content in both English and Spanish throughout the school day. Denby Early Childhood Center and Johnson Elementary started hosting dual language classes this school year. The students at Johnson welcomed their guests by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance in both English and Spanish, while the preschoolers at Denby ECC presented their school motto in both languages. Bilingual military service members were invited to read Good Night, Captain Mama, Buenas noches, Capitan Mama, a book written in both English and Spanish by a Latina officer and aviator who served in the U.S. Air Force. The military guests took turns reading both languages, creating a fun and interesting reading experience, perfectly suited to the students learning to speak fluently in both languages. This was also a practical example to the young students of professionals who use their bilingual talents to serve others. Afterwards, students colored a picture representing all military branches, while spending time getting to know their new military friends. Every student was gifted a copy of the book to add to their home library, giving them a chance to sharpen their fluency in both languages by reading to their families. The gifted magnet students at Woodside High School have a new stage for displaying their incredible talents, the school library. As the Arts and Communications Magnet Program, Woodside High School encourages their art students to apply what they learn through performances. To support and promote these magnet students, the library team met with magnet educators to schedule mini performances during select Wolverine Wednesdays. This school year, student audiences have enjoyed performances by guitar ensembles, orchestra and piano musicians, and creative writing students. To enjoy these live performances, Woodside students sign up online to reserve their seats, with more and more students showing interest after each Wolverine showcase. For those lucky enough to snag a limited seat, it's a wonderful opportunity to support their friends and see the range of talents in Woodside's magnet programs. For the performers themselves, it's another chance to practice in front of a live audience as they sharpen their artistic talents. Every month, students at Heritage High School are given the opportunity to spend their lunchtime developing important life skills. Lunch and Learn, organized by professional school counselor Terry Jones, was started last school year to offer students a safe space to learn soft skills and discuss topics not usually covered in the classroom. Lifehouse Church Newport News has been a wonderful community partner, kindly providing box lunches for each monthly session. All students at Heritage are invited to take part while learning about a variety of topics, including healthy relationships, time management, being responsible on social media, and mental health strategies. Through engaging activities and thought-provoking discussions, students gain valuable insights and experiences as they grow into contributing citizens. Special guests visited Discovery STEM Academy to make Earth Day a community event. iSTEM resource teacher Michelle Braxton collaborated with each grade level to create fun and engaging learning experiences for all students. Guest readers, including elected school board members, interim superintendent Michelle Mitchell, and various school readers, read some of their favorite nature and earth-themed books to different grades. Volunteers with Newport News Master Gardeners gladly shared their knowledge and resources as they taught students the importance of earthworms to an ecosystem and helped young gardeners plant butterfly-friendly plants to attract the fluttering pollinators. Meanwhile, each grade hosted their own classroom activities, giving students a chance to grow their own plants from seeds or take part in recycling efforts. And resource teachers offered students specialized Earth Day activities. Sorting recycling during a fast-paced Earth Day relay in the gym, coloring their Earth Day pledge during art, and exploring the power of nature through STEM. For students at Discovery STEM Academy, Earth Day was an opportunity to let their knowledge shine and creativity flourish. The Sanford Elementary family brought a garden to life, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. To celebrate Earth Day, students, PTA, and community partners worked together to establish a brand new garden called Sanford Seedlings. Sanford's PTA organized everyone's efforts, with mulch and soil kindly provided by the NNPS Plant Services Department. Throughout the day, students from various classrooms helped transport mulch and soil into the custom-built raised garden beds. PTA members, families, volunteers with Virginia Master Naturalists, and environmental ambassadors from Canon all devoted time and hard work to preparing the garden area and growing beds. Canon employees were enthusiastic to assist a local school on Earth Day, with Sanford providing the perfect opportunity for community engagement. Anderson's Garden Center graciously donated a range of vegetable plants, which students and volunteers happily planted. Sanford Seedlings features 6 raised beds, so each grade has their own crop of vegetables to water, maintain, and eventually harvest. This gives all students at Sanford the educational opportunity to see firsthand where fresh, healthy produce comes from and play an important role in growing delicious vegetables from seedlings. Students and staff at Denby High School decided to serve their community during Earth Day. Denby hosted their first annual community cleanup with the hopes of expanding this service in the coming years. Organized by Principal Michelle Huffstetler and School Resource Officer Aaron Watkins, students gathered on a Saturday morning to spread out and clean up Denby neighborhoods. Tennis players helped clean and beautify the area around the tennis courts and athletic fields. Meanwhile, students and staff worked together to clean up the sidewalks along Denby Boulevard and beyond. The students enjoyed working together to make a positive impact on their community, working hard to fill 15 giant bags full of litter and debris. And their efforts didn't go unnoticed, with folks stopping to thank them for their generous act of kindness. By taking action and serving others, Denby's students and staff created a memorable Earth Day experience for themselves and their community.
I hope you enjoyed this month's School Board Spotlight. We now have overcome our technical difficulties, and I think we can have Dr. Best petition to join us remotely. So I will repeat what I did at the front end of our meeting. We have one member of the school board who wishes to participate in our meeting electronically. As indicated in Board Policy BEE, electronic participation in meetings from remote location, the board member must make such request, which she has done, cite the reason for remote attendance, and the board must approve the request by majority vote of the members present. So school board members, Dr. Terry Best has made such a request. She shares that due to personal and family matters, she's unable to attend in person and requests board approval to participate electronically. Dr. Best, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Great. And if you could tell us where you're joining us from?
I am joining you from Chicago, Illinois, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. So hearing Dr. Best's request, what is the pleasure of the board? Do I have a motion?
I move to allow Dr. Best to attend remotely.
That's great. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon.
4.
Brown.
4.
Solzall.
4.
Motion carries 5-0.
Wonderful. Thank you. And welcome, Dr. Best.
Thank you.
So also joining us this evening is not just the Vice Mayor, but the Mayor of Newport News. So, Mr. Philip Jones, thank you. We appreciate you being in attendance. Okay, during our regular meetings, we provide time for the public to address the school board. These opportunities are scheduled early in part of our agenda and also towards the end of the meeting. And as advertised, citizens may submit comments via email up to 30 minutes prior to our meeting time to be included in the official meeting record. For those of you joining us in person, the board considers this an opportunity to listen to your comments. Please understand that we will consider your concerns. We ask that you comply with our 3-minute time limit. As you begin your comments, a green light will come on. A yellow light signals you have 30 seconds remaining, and a red light and beep indicates your time is up. As your name is called, please come forward. Vice Mayor Curtis Bethany.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay.
I'll allow you a little more time.
No, I think I can do it in 3 minutes, and I think it's even more fitting that I came today to speak because there were already so many recognitions and praise given, and I'm here to continue that because we have not seen each other since the City of Champions event in which at the last council meeting I did give you all some praise if you did hear it. But if you did not, I'm here to do it publicly and in front of you all, because I truly appreciate all the work that went behind that event. We know, and I say it often, that if we do not tell our story and we leave it up for someone else to do so, we will not be shared in a bright and positive light. And you all took full control of that and gave us an opportunity to do so. So I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, from the kid from Woodside, Newport News native. It really was truly spectacular. And I want to say thank you for that. And then the second piece is saying that all the graduations were phenomenal. I attended every single graduation.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. It was amazing though. It was amazing though. All of them were phenomenal and special in their own unique ways. And so it just was truly beautiful to see everything go as planned. And just want to say thank you all so much. I think the mayor has reiterated time and time again that we are committed to working together and continuing to build off of this relationship. And so I hope that it's not just lip service, and by now that you know that we are truly committed to helping the school division, the city move forward, because we are not independent of each other. We move together always. So again, I just want to say thank you and look forward to working with you all as we continue making Newport News the best place to live, work, and play. Bam! There you go.
So we just say thank you for your thank you. And you're right, we are a team. This is one city, and we appreciate your support. And I know you all have somewhere to be, so take care. Jean Magruder? I picked you first.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All of y'all. Is it going? Anyway, I was told back there's no way I'm going to get through this in 3 minutes. So I just want y'all to know, if you look at your email, I did send the speech in your email. So
Yes.
Anyway, good evening. My name is Gene Magruder, and I wish to make a brief statement concerning responsible contracting by the Newport News School System. First, let me say, I was on the Virginia Board of Contractors for over 7 years. I am still on the board of asbestos, lead, and home inspection, which are two of the big regulatory boards in the state. I heard well over 2,000 cases concerning many different scenarios involving contractors in the state. We pulled many licenses during my time. There were a few scenarios that were constant in most of our agendas, and I've seen cases that would blow every Virginia citizen's mind on what contractors have did. The first was that contractors would hire independent contractors that were not qualified by the law to do the job they were contracted to do. They would basically work outside the scope of their license. There was no oversight on safety or wages on the job these independent contractors were performing. They, in many cases, simply walked off the job, leaving behind a mess for not only the customer but the main contractor. The second biggest item we dealt with as a board was the contractor not fulfilling the contract. They'd accept payment, they'd hire subcontractors, they'd start the process, and then simply walk away. Most of the time they could do this and only lose their licenses and a fine. But in these instances, not only was the project delayed, but the customer had to go through a long process of litigation before the courts. Another part of this is that even if they did finish the project, we would find that they took shortcuts, such as not fulfilling permit requirements and having the qualifying license. I have personally heard cases where the customer had to have the whole job completely redone by order of the city inspector of the city or county. Thus, the cost and time to the customer, which would be the school board, could never be made up. One example that should really explain why responsible contract is necessary. If the school board enters into a contract with a builder to build an addition or a new school, such as Huntington, the contractor obviously would use independent contractors for a specific job, not their own employees. So they contract the piping systems, such as hot and cold water, Also, the sprinkler system. Of course, the independent contractor, thinking it was all piping, goes about telling his 1099 employees he is hired to just go ahead and run all the piping. They run the piping, including the sprinkler system, not realizing that running a sprinkler system requires its own special license. The city inspector becomes aware of this, and all of a sudden, the city is forced into delays. Who will?
Well, if you hang around, there's another session at the end of the school
Oh,
board.
thank you, Lisa, but no thank you. Y'all take care and thank you.
But we do have that in our email. Thank you, Mr. Magruder. Appreciate it. Next is Mary Voss.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Mitchell, Chair Searleslaw, and members of the board. I'm Mary Voss, NNPS teacher and parent, and NNEA secretary. Our NNEA president, Dr. James Graves, is out of town at VEA meetings, so I am reading this statement on his behalf. The Newport News Education Association supports responsible contracting policy in order to protect the school system and its building trades and construction workers against irresponsible contractors. A responsible contracting policy would help ensure fair wages, job site safety, and compliance with all labor laws. The NNEA is proud to stand with local building trades and construction unions in support of the Newport News School Board passing responsible contracting policy. A brief aside to NNPS employees watching from home, please visit newportnewseducationassociation.com to learn more about the many benefits of joining the NNEA. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Ben Lambert.
Just put my own timer on. Okay. Well, good evening, Madam Chair and distinguished school board members. My name is Ben Lambert. I am here to speak on behalf of the Virginia Building Trades Council. Before I start, I want to thank Ms. Manadero for her service to this board and to the city. I will remember how difficult it is to balance the duties of her position with academics. It is certainly a challenge, but someone with talent has to do it, and it's a rare opportunity for a young person to leave a mark. And creating opportunities for youth is why the Virginia Building Trades are here tonight. A career in a skilled trade is an opportunity to have a well-paying job that can support a family the day a worker walks onto the job site as a journeyman. For those who can get this opportunity, it's a ticket to a comfortable lifestyle. But after years of governments and private companies using contractors that don't offer apprenticeships, there aren't nearly enough opportunities to go around. Instead of highly trained men and women, the trades workforce has been hollowed out in Hampton Roads and largely replaced with an underground workforce vulnerable to wage theft, unsafe working conditions, and exploitation. It's time to rebuild that workforce with skilled labor, and it starts with you all choosing Newport News students to build the schools that other NNPS students will learn in. A responsible contracting policy chooses NNPS students. It chooses to invest the wealth of this city and this school division in contractors who invest that wealth in apprentices and choose to pay them a fair wage. It chooses to use programs that keep apprentices and fully trained workers safer on the job site, and it chooses to care about any worker who is mistreated in your name by holding unscrupulous contractors and subcontractors accountable. I know that you all will have questions, and many more experienced and smarter people than me are here tonight and will be here next month to answer your questions. But in 2 months' time, I hope to return to this room where my public service began and watch you all choose responsible contracting for your contractors. And as a product of Newport News Public Schools, I'm aware that it has become fashionable of late to bash our school division, to throw around words like failing without ever considering the statistics or the accomplishments of my fellow graduates. But I challenge anyone to call any school a failure if it has already taught students valuable skills before it has even opened. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Lou Spencer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lou Spencer. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Virginia Building and Construction Trades Council, and like Jean, I currently serve on the board for contractors. Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and school board members. Please consider in your future procurement plans responsible contractor language to combat wage theft and worker misclassification. Registered apprenticeship and prevailing wage to promote local hiring and workforce development. Moreover, adding these components to contracting procurement indicate a commitment to quality assurance and a seriousness to providing taxpayers value for every dollar spent. These procurement standards will increase the number of responsive contractors bidding on your project. Lastly, strong labor protections will permit Newport News students and residents to live and thrive in Newport News, Virginia. On a personal note, I have worked in construction for 43 years. I'm a fourth-generation plumber. My youngest son is a fifth-generation plumber. I served my apprenticeship many years ago. The construction industry has been great to me and my loved ones, and I want to share these opportunities with everyone. Let us know if we can help you in some way, and remember, if you can dream it, we will build it for you. Thank you and good evening. Thanks.
Thank you. Roxana Mejia. The J, it threw me.
It's fine, all right. Good evening, members of the board. I first want to thank you for all the work that you do for the students and for our youth and for being here and allowing me to speak. My name is Roxy Mejia. I go by Roxy Mejia. I am a proud member of the Painters and Allied Trades and Construction Industry. I wanted to speak about responsible bidders, responsible contractors. They have registered apprenticeships. With registered apprenticeships, you open the door for more women like me to be in this industry. To be quite honest, if you look at me, I'm a 5 1/4, right? And when I go to a job site, many of times they don't think that I belong there. Well, I do. And many other women that are coming through the apprenticeship programs, we can even be better than men. I was one of only 4 when I started 20 years ago. Now I'm one of 10 within my industry, the Painters and Allied Trades, and I want to be one of 10%, I want to be one of 20%. When I started, I mentioned to someone, crack the door for me, and I'll do the rest. And what I ask you is to consider responsible bidders that have registered apprenticeship, local hiring, and crack that door for any other women that look like me, black and brown, so that we can have the opportunity to thrive, buy houses, and be the breadwinners of our industry, and live, work, and play in our community. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jason Parker.
What a moment. What wonderful speeches. Jason Parker, Virginia State Building Construction Trades Council, which represents all the labor trades men and women in the state of Virginia. I'm also the Secretary Treasurer of the AFL-CIO for the state, and we represent 330,000 working families. Apprenticeship, when you think of apprenticeship, you have 2 things, and I do appreciate this, Madam Chair. You have the academics and you have the man hours. When you think of like an electrician, there's so many hours in the class, and then there's 8,000 hours in the field for the on-the-job training. When right now in the state of Virginia, you have a state where we have a governor who's put a lot of resources into a mega agency that's for workforce development, but everybody has to understand you can do all the training you want to do in a classroom, but still to be in a registered apprenticeship and to make trades men and women, you're going to need those 8,000 hours. And so what we're looking for here with responsible contracting is to give those hours to the actual training of the tradespeople we would need. And when we do that, you're going to make a higher quality workforce. And the reason I say that's important is because when manufacturers come looking for an area, they look for 3 things. They look for the quality of your education system, they look for the quality of your workforce, and they look for the quality of your infrastructure. This type of workforce development goes to alleviating problems in all 3 of those. And with more manufacturing, you bring more opportunities. Because I am a product of the apprenticeship system. I came out of Newport News, Virginia, IBW 1340, 30-year electrician, and I ended up having a 20-year career at NASA. before I took a job in the union hall and then became these other items. So this is what ends up happening. You take this essential industry and these essential workers, you build those manufacturers, and then those particular workers, because they already have schooling inside of the trades, working with their hands and all these things, they become your technicians, they become your project managers, they become your estimators, your planners, and they tool into the entire industry, and the conveyor belt keeps going. I believe personally that if we can get all the different municipalities, all the different school boards, and the state of Virginia to pony up money towards its own procurement of its product it's creating, it will create the workforce it needs to continue to capture manufacturers as they re-domicile in the United States due to geopolitical conflict and other things. And we've learned, as with the CHIPS Act, that you need to make sure some of these industries are domiciled in your country because they are national security items. In closing, I just want to say that we also have an MC3 program that we would love to talk about in tandem with this, so that we have the ability to create a pipeline for your students into the trades. We're always looking for talent. We're always looking for people of all types. We are a cross-section of society, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe this is James Avery.
Why'd you make me follow him? I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and I just want to say a few words in support of the apprenticeship as well. I am also a product of our International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 1340 apprenticeship. I'm a third generation IBEW member. My son is a fourth generation, and the service pin on my lapel represents 50 years of membership. I joined in 1971. And I've fully retired, and I really enjoy that. And those opportunities were given to me by this trade. The apprenticeship, the work itself, is sometimes very difficult, but they don't send you out there without the tools that you need to do the job. I think that a lot of the citizens in this city would greatly benefit from having this as a choice for their own future. And I also want to mention, just as Jason pointed out, just being a licensed tradesman can be a springboard into something else. We have electrical engineers, inspectors, all kinds of project managers that started in the field. And that is the strongest beginning for somebody to actually progress through. I taught apprenticeship back in the 80s and the 90s, and I have students that were in my class at the time that retired early by being contractors and going through the business end of the deal. So I would strongly encourage the board to consider including this in their requirements for future work, because it will provide not only for the citizens who participate, but also the city itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other cards for this session? Okay. I want to thank each and every one of you who came to speak. Taking your time to come and let us hear your voice is really important. So thanks for coming. We'll now move on to Section 3, the consent agenda, which includes 3.01, minutes from the work session, which was on May 16, 2023, 3.02, minutes from the closed session on May 16, 2023, 3.03, minutes from the regular meeting, May 16, 2023. We also had 3.04, financial reports, including the revenue report for May 2023, the expense report for May 2023, and the child nutrition report for May 2023. We have 3.05, the personnel report, 3.06, the VDOE authorization of signature in absence of division superintendent, 3.07, Stronger Connections grant program. So at this time, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as stated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And any discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask if we could expand upon item 3.07 and what the grant program entails and potentially what is the opportunity for our school division.
This is a competitive grant, and if we were able to receive the grant, we would receive $350,000. This grant there's a list of options that we could apply for, and it's all dealing with safety. Some are security officers, some are radios, some are small buzzers that can go on particular indoor spaces, not the exterior doors. And as our team met and looked at the amount of money, we are going to apply to get 2 security officers. It would pay for 2 security officers, salary, benefits for 3 years. And in addition to that, it would be able to provide us with a little bit more than 80 two-way radios, so that security officers and assistant principals, and in some situations, teachers would have access to radios.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Any
Mr.
other
Brown.
questions? Okay, great. Any other questions regarding that? I'm excited about the grant being on the table because all that you just listed were things that have been in our purview. And if this grant would allow us to do that, more power to us. So at this time, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? I already did that part. I apologize. This was our discussion. Any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon.
4.
Best.
4.
Brown.
4.
Searleslaw.
4.
Motion carries 6-0.
Great, thank you. The next item on our agenda is section 4, the action items. On the agenda this evening is 4.02. We have new and revised policies. So Dr. Metzgerl.
Ms. Searleslaw.
We skipped.
It's 4.01 of federal funding.
Oh, I did skip that. My apologies. So the next agenda is section 4, is the federal funding application. So Dr. Mitchell, if you could give us some insight.
If you recall, we had a presentation about the proposed spending plan for our federal programs, Title I, II, etc. Letha Brooks presented a detailed presentation regarding what we would like to allocate the funds for. And at this time, we are hoping that you will approve the spending plan.
Okay. So do I have a motion for 4.02, 4.01, I'm sorry, the federal funding applications?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the federal funding applications.
Great. Do we have a second?
Madam Chair, second item 4.01.
Okay, thank you. And is there any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, if you would, please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon.
4.
Best.
4.
Brown.
4.
Searleslaw.
4.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. And now we're on to 4.02, the new and revised policies. There, Dr.
Yes,
Mitchell.
and I will, we had some new and revised policies that were presented by Ms. Tracy Brooks in the previous meeting. And at this time, we would hope that you have had, I know you've had the opportunity to not only remember what she presented, but also to review them. And if you have any questions, I'm sure that Tracy Brooks is available to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Board, do you have any questions on the policies that were in our package? Okay. So can I get a motion to approve our new and revised policies?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move that we approve our new and revised policies as contained in 4.02 with the exception of BG, GCR, GB, EBC, GB, EBA, GAD, and GBAA.
Okay, Mr. Brown, I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that you are excluding.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second it. That's fine.
Okay. We have a second. Any discussion? All right. So if we could, please call the roll.
Against.
For.
Against.
For.
4.
Motion carries 4-2.
Thank you. And then the next item on our agenda is Section 4. Action items. And this evening is 4.03. It's Huntington Middle School Proposed Plan. Dr. Mitchell, we are eager to hear from you.
Thank you. As you recall, on May 18th, we held a public hearing at Heritage High School with a recommendation to temporarily move the rising Huntington sixth graders to another middle school, keeping in mind that because they're rising sixth graders, they have not physically attended Heritage High School. We have several reasons that we think that this would be a move that is beneficial to our rising sixth graders. Currently, the sixth graders at Huntington at Heritage are housed outside in a portable classrooms, if you will. We think that they would have a better experience being in a middle school. We would like to make a temporary move of having them attend Crittenton Middle School. It will give them the opportunity to have a full plethora of related arts classes, which they are not privy to at this particular time. It also will give them the opportunity to not have to go into the building of Heritage to access certain amenities. If you have any questions, Dr. Barnett and myself are available to answer those questions. And keeping in mind, this is temporary. This is not an expectation that students would continue their, entire career. We know that we are building a new school for the students in that community.
That was my question.
Okay.
All right, let's hear from our board. Do we have any questions regarding this recommendation?
Madam Chair, that was my question as well. And just for clarification of the public and those watching, this is not a rezoning.
It is not.
It is a temporary change in assignment, and these students would go to Huntington once Huntington is built.
That is correct.
I just wanted to ask, have we communicated with the rising sixth grade families, or have we gotten feedback, or what is the plan? Should we approve this moving forward?
We have sent out some communication to our families, just notifying them when we held our public hearing about the proposal. If this vote is passed, we'll be sending out communication, giving them the full details about placement for students, bus information, start and dismissal times, and things of that nature.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Alger.
Yes. I just want to make a statement. After the hearing, I went out to the school to visit. I walked through the whole campus, and one of the things I did have a concern with was instructional time. I noticed that the sixth graders were outside in cottages, and that concerned me because the time that it takes for the kids to go to and from, to use a bathroom that's inside the main building, was taking a lot of instructional time, and I thought that was important to note. Just by visiting the building, that was something that was quite evident.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I had a comment as well. Do I wait until after motion or make it now?
You can do it either way. Would you like to wait until after the motion?
Sure.
Okay. So is there a motion to accept the recommendation for Huntington Middle School proposed plan?
I move to accept the recommendation.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the recommendation for the proposal for Huntington Middle School rising sixth graders.
Okay. Rebecca Amon, would you like to second that?
Sure.
Thank you. Perfect. You all were doing it simultaneously. All right. And for discussion, anyone for discussion here on the dais? All right, Dr. Beth, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Tonight, we will take an important vote regarding placement of students at Huntington Middle School. Please know I do not take this vote lightly. In fact, it was I who fought hardest and lobbied the board to return student zone for Huntington Middle School closer to their neighborhood. I believed at that time this was in the best interest of the students. It was also my belief that the city would see the need to rebuild Huntington as soon as possible and approve the needed funding. For those that may not be aware, many students that attend Huntington Middle School after second grade do not attend school in their neighborhood. So it was important to me as a representative of the South community to advocate to allow these students to attend the school closest to their home and to rebuild Huntington Middle School with all deliberate speed. Myself, along with fellow board members, knew that placing Huntington Middle School students at Heritage High School was not the best situation nor a long-term solution. But the majority of us felt it could work until Huntington Middle School was rebuilt. After concerning phone calls from Huntington parents, staff members from both Huntington and Heritage, I made it my business to spend some time at the school. I had an opportunity to speak with students, parents, and staff. I expressed concerns to the superintendent and leadership as to my belief that we were not doing the best we could for the students, and the sixth grade students especially were being disserviced by being housed separately in the learning cottages located outside of the main building. I will not reiterate the other limitations and concerns as they have been noted. As a board member, what is best for students must always be in the forefront for any decision we make. For me, if it involves reevaluating and reversing an early decision to do what's best for students, then I'm willing to publicly say a decision I advocated for is currently not in the best interest. The addition of sixth grade, a third grade level to Huntington Middle School at Heritage caused it to reach critical mass, which could not be sustained in a way that best served the needs of students. The need to rebuild Huntington Middle School is now more crucial than ever. The disproportionate burden of busing on students residing in the Southeast community, compounded by the fact that there is currently not a neighborhood middle school, further marginalizes these students. It is for these reasons I support the plan to change zoning to send sixth grade students currently zoned for Huntington Middle School to attend Crittenden Middle School for the next 2 years. If we proceed with all deliberate speed, this should allow time for the new Huntington Middle School to be funded, built, and opened. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Best. I think the comment that I would just add here on the tail end is that I know this board to have the best interests of students at heart with what we have in front of us and what resources we have, and to have the crystal ball as to when our schools are going to be built. So for us to come back and look at this and take a recommendation from the leadership is doing our due diligence so that we're making sure that our students have the resources they need to be successful. So, any further discussion or comment?
Madam Chair, I'll just state that publicly that this was a challenging and very difficult vote for myself. I was from the beginning very much against this, and I'm glad that I had a chance to talk to several members of the board and discuss this further. I continue to be concerned about Huntington remaining a school of record. That is a concern, a long-term concern for me. That's a lot of the reason why I pushed, as I did, to allow Huntington to remain open and fought the rezoning that we considered back in 2016. So I became very much concerned about this reversing that decision that was made. but I have assurances right now that we're not reversing that decision. And with all, as my colleague mentioned, with all deliberate speed, when Huntington is built, then this will be the school of record for these students. And we do owe it to the students that we currently have to put them in the best learning environment that we can.
Yeah.
And so that's what has really shifted my opinion on this topic over time.
Great. Thank you. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon. 4. Best.
4.
Brown.
4.
Searles Law.
4.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, board.
Madam Chairman, I have a question for you.
Yes.
In action item 4.02, you all passed a majority of the new and revised policies, excluding several of them.
Yes.
I just want to know from the secretary if there was action taken. Was the motion that was passed? You excluded various policies and no action was taken on those policies. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the question that I think
So
I was trying to.
They, according to what I've heard from the motion, that they excluded these 6 policies, meaning that they voted on those that are grouped together, excluding these.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, it would appear that you would still need to act
We
one
could.
way or the other on the other, that you didn't act on the other policies.
Yes, and we could either do that at this time or we could do that at our next board meeting, was my thinking.
I just wanted to understand.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you bringing it up. So I was planning, after we went through this, to take a look at those excluded policies and see if we can get a better consensus across the board on, from everyone, and then we'll just bring them back up at our next board meeting.
That's fine.
Okay, is that fair? All right. Thank you. I really appreciate you being up here with us. Okay, so speaking of policies, we'll move on to Section 5, Reports and Information. And we're going to get some new policies, which are 5.01, new and revised policies.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Madam Vice Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Mitchell. It's a pleasure to share highlights from several new and revised policies with you this evening and to complete this year's policy chapter review process. The policies and their procedures were reviewed by the Policy Committee, which includes board members, principals, teachers, administrators, and our school board and school division attorneys. I will begin this evening by highlighting 4 new and revised policies that support best practices in the school division, and then we will complete our review of the Human Resources Policy chapter by recommending policy revisions that also work to support best practices in the division. Now, given the change in the local election cycle from May to November, we are recommending a revision to the school board's current organizational meeting policy that will move the board's annual meeting from July to January, beginning in 2024. Now, the proposed change also includes a transition for a 6-month term for certain offices, such as the school board chairman, vice chairman, clerk, and deputy clerks, to bridge the gap between the current July organizational meeting and the annual meeting being proposed for January of 2024. The next 3 policies are safety related. The first is a new policy that will allow the superintendent, after consulting with the school board chairman, to call a special emergency meeting to provide information to the school board about critical incidents occurring in the school division. The special meeting will be conducted within 72 hours of the incident or as soon as the superintendent and board chairman determine as appropriate. The procedure to the policy will define a critical incident as any sudden or unexpected incident or sequence of events that that cause trauma within the school community and overwhelm the normal operations of a school. The procedure will include examples of critical incidents ranging from the death of a student or employee in the school setting to the discharge of a firearm on school board property. Next, we are proposing a revision to our current policy on staff personal security and safety. We are adding the state code requirement for the superintendent to report all student assaults on employees to local law enforcement, which reflects our current practice. We also added that this reporting requirement is already included in our student code of conduct, which the school board adopts annually. Our last safety-related policy is new and aligns with state law by acknowledging that parents have the responsibility to assist their students' school in enforcing the student code of conduct and compulsory school attendance. The policy includes the state code citation that specifies the actions that school divisions can take to address student discipline violations and referrals to court for parents whose students are not attending school as required by law. And next, we are excited to complete our third year and the review of the 5th policy chapter in our timeline, which is on human resources. Now, given the size of this chapter, we divided it into these 3 groups, and we'll speak to the last group of policies this evening that will focus on employee relations. I would like to thank our Director of Human Resources, Mrs. Nina Farish, and her team for sharing their expertise that enabled us to complete this important work. Ms. Farish.
Thank you, Tracy. Good evening, Madam Chair Searles-Law, Madam Vice Chair Dr. Best, members of the board, and Dr. Mitchell. I am presenting human resource policies that have incurred significant changes. We have a diversity policy that acknowledges NNPS's commitment to creating an educational environment where diverse people are recruited and staff work together positively to develop mutually beneficial relationships that respect each person's individuality. We are recommending an update of verbiage to cover all protected groups to align with the current EEO groups. Sexual misconduct and abuse. This policy addresses the school board's commitment to protecting students from sexual misconduct and abuse by employees and volunteers. We are recommending to change the title only of this policy to Unprofessional Interactions with Students. The reasons for the title change is that it also covers non-sexual, unprofessional interactions with students. Additionally, we have Title IX that is addressed in another policy that covers sexual misconduct. The procedure to the policy provides examples of some but not all behaviors often associated with inappropriate conduct that can create an appearance of impropriety. The Contracts and Salary Notifications policy addresses contracts and letters of appointment for support staff employees. We are recommending that the language, letters of appointment for support staff employees, be changed to align with our electronic process of salary notifications for support staff employees. In the Performance Assessment System policy, we added language that the school division's assessment program will be consistent with the performance standards in the Virginia Department of Education guidelines for uniform performance standards and evaluation criteria for teachers, administrators, and superintendents. The policy's procedure was updated to align with the NNPS performance standards to those of the VDOE, including the addition of a new standard on culturally responsive teaching and equitable practices. The school board recognizes the importance of teachers having a duty-free lunch. Although this is no longer required under the state code, the school board is committed to providing a duty-free lunch for teachers as outlined in this policy. Not changed was the provision that teachers may be assigned lunch periods that are not duty-free for no more than 10 days per school year. Parental concerns about school-based staff. The current policy addresses parents expressing concerns or complaints regarding the school their child attends. We recommend changing the policy to update the language to align with actual process. Parent concerns are addressed at the school level with the principal, executive director, or director. HR is involved if needed. Our last policy for this evening is on retirement. The current policy addresses employees who wish to retire given written notice to the Human Resources Department by the end of March or 90 days before their retirement date. We are recommending to update the language to align with our process of staff setting appointments with the Human Resources Benefits team to process retirements. We continue to ask staff to complete applications for retirement 90 days prior to the retirement effective date to allow for processing time and to ensure an on-time pension payment. At this time, Ms. Brooks is going to conclude the presentation.
So in terms of our next steps, the new, reviewed, and revised policies will come before the board for action at your July or August meeting as you so determine. And once approved, the new, reviewed, and revised policies, procedures, and exhibits will be posted on our school division websites and disseminated to schools and public libraries. So this concludes our report this evening. I would like to say a special thank you again to the Policy Committee, the Human Resources team, and to Mrs. Farish for her leadership in completing the numerous human resources policies that have come before you this school year. So thank you.
Well, we thank you very much for keeping us on our toes and on track for reviewing our policies. You and your team have done a phenomenal job this year.
Terrific.
So
thank you very much.
Are there any questions that we have?
I do have a question. Maybe need some clarification. So at our school board meeting in January of 2023, did we not elect our new chair and vice chairs at that time?
No.
We did not? Well, I found that strange since we were just elected.
I think we did.
We did.
Actually.
We had to select them because 4 of us were up for elections. And so we couldn't elect any people until we got sworn in.
But all 4 of you returned. I think that's.
I want to say I feel like it was weird, like we didn't, because we were silent on it.
And that's what I'll need to check that. That's what we're trying to avoid because that could happen.
So that being said, that's why I wasn't sure of that. Mm-hmm. Because then you're saying that we have installed someone for a whole entire year, right? So that person would have been installed for a year and a half?
The chair, these are the positions.
Prior to July?
We did July to July.
We did July to July.
2022,
and so we did.
We elected a board chairman.
Even with the new election.
I don't think we did.
See, that doesn't seem possible because you would have had new elected people. We had to get sworn in again. You couldn't get sworn in again if you were not elected. That doesn't make sense. You know, that doesn't make sense that because I had to get elected.
Right.
So you can't just assume that you were going to be in there.
Right.
Because I don't think there's any policy there.
Your term was extended by 6 months. That's how they did the transition.
But that 6 months ended.
Your term was extended between July and January,
right,
to allow the November election. But you were a sitting board member July 1st, 2022. You elected a board chairman, and clerk for a year.
Right, that's correct.
So now we're going to have a board chair election in July 2023. The issue is if you do a year again, you will then cross over the election issue.
I understand that, but I thought this policy is saying that still doesn't make sense to me right now, right? Because we had to get sworn in, elected. So we had to have chosen chair and vice chair in January.
Done that in July 1st.
So,
well, but those people were not guaranteed.
Right, but the minutes from our July meeting, it says that a motion. Okay. Dr. Parker recommended the school board elected chairman for the 2022-2023 school year. Mr. Brown nominated Ms. Searles Law, and then carried 5-0, and then nominated Dr. Terry Bass for vice chair, carried 5-0. So it was for the 2022-2023 school year. Possibly we shouldn't have, but that is what we voted for. So, I mean, it may be that our attorneys want to look and make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
Right, so it's, so
My understanding
we
was
needed to do that because the
Right, so
state code basically says that you should appoint somebody for a year.
right.
The reason we're doing the policy the way we are is we're trying to do a transition period
Of the
so
6
we
months.
realign everything
Right.
to the new November.
We could
election
keep
cycle.
it in July to July if we wanted to. You just end
Right.
up
Yeah,
with
okay,
Yes,
you
that's
can-
someone
that's
having
what
to
you
be
want.
a
Continue to
vacancy.
do.
Yes.
All right,
it's
I
solely up to
just,
you.
something wasn't gelling with me, that's all.
Well,
We talked about it.
Maybe this, that.
Yeah, we did talk about this.
we did.
Maybe I was going, maybe that's the meeting I was out.
Could have been.
I have a thought that is, maybe compounding this issue. For me, changing the board chair in January in the middle of the school year seems odd to me. So my argument at this point really is keeping it July to July, even though it doesn't mesh with the election cycle. But what it does mesh with is the work that we do here for the board, for the division. And I'm just not sure. So this was a conversation I was wanting to have with the board, because it really is, it's unfortunate that we're January to January by election cycle, November. But as far as running a division, you're talking about changing the board right in the middle of the school year.
But that would not work, because then you're basically saying that you always want to have an incumbent, right? So you're going to have to, if the,
Right,
both,
right,
the
that
two
would
incumbents, the two incumbents are their officers, and they end up either not running or not winning,
Yes.
you're going to have to go into, you're going to have to go back and reelect someone anyway.
You would,
Right.
if
So
they're
we're
not
always
an
going to-
incumbent.
we're always to.
And I think that's the question, right? But the law allows that, right? So had we lost the election, then there would have been another organizational meeting to elect new officers.
But that's
It's
to say that
your seat
wouldn't
becomes
have called-
vacated when you lose. Right?
We wouldn't have called it the official organizational meeting. We would just call it a meeting to
elect.
fix the fact that we no longer had a chair, a vice chair, or even if the clerk had left mid-year, you would take steps to remedy that. You can do it either way. The thought was, it made a lot of sense to align the organizational meeting with the election, and your starting the term January 1st.
Now we may need to revise. I'm looking over your shoulder. Sorry,
Yeah.
because you have it pulled up.
Yeah.
It talks about the organizational meeting, and we'll set up a calendar of meetings for the next school year, and that hasn't been changed. But the yellow language has been changed to January, so we may need to do a little more revising.
Yeah.
For the next calendar year or something. But it's, it is awkward given the school year.
Yeah.
But I don't know what other school boards are doing, kind of what best practices are.
Right.
And it's kind of a combination across the state.
It is.
Yes.
That was going to be my question:
because-
is how
Exactly.
has the state addressed it?
Right, because the VSBA, you may recall, offers the sessions of July also in January.
Right.
Because for many school, or for some school divisions across the state, they've always maintained a January organizational meeting or terms. I think those that appoint school board members versus those that elect school board members. So it's been a combination of those.
With conversations with Mr. Finneran, when the statute was changed on elections, it was his information that the General Assembly members said, we would figure it out. And they didn't need to help us figure it out.
Oh,
So
okay.
whatever system we come up with is apparently okay with the General Assembly.
And you can't split your board chair and then when you set all your meetings. I'm just because July is such a down month. It's just nice to have that as the
Well, one of the awkward things, and the reason we're trying to do a transition, is that literally the code section says that you appoint a chair for a year. If you change your organizational meeting, you really should change the appointment to correspond with that year. We just needed to come up with a solution to transition from July to January. You don't have to do that. You may continue to have your organizational meeting in July. But the question is, is it a better idea to have the organizational meeting after elections rather than mid?
Sure. Well, I think that should be a conversation that we have, because we do want to do what's in the best interest too of the division and continuity for leadership for the school year.
That's what I was just saying. The way it still reads today is kind of muddy. Even if we go and read it right now, the next group of people come in, it's going to read muddy again. So I think it needs. I just think it needs another look at. Okay.
Right.
Look at.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you very much,
both
and
of
we
you.
will wait on your guidance. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll move on to item 5.02, the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. Dr. Mitchell. Oh, yes. One more question.
Yes, just one thing about the, it's JIH policy, the student interrogations, searches and arrests. Just something I just want to bring up, the bottom section where it speaks to contacting the parent of the request, and it reads like this: if law enforcement officers request permission to interrogate a student at school, the school official will attempt to notify the parent of the request. I agree with it, except I think it should be a principal or designee, not school official. School official could be a teacher, and I'm not sure if we want, it should be someone who is, not to say that our teachers are able to de-escalate, but if we shouldn't put them in a conflictual situation.
Okay.
Contacting a parent involving a situation like that could be, a very, how can I say, it could be a difficult phone call at times.
Okay. And so that one is JIH. I had JHI.
Right.
Okay. JIH.
So indicating principal or designee. So that designee could be a counselor, could be someone that can have that difficult conversation if need be with the parent.
Okay. Ms. Brooks, you got that adjustment?
Yes.
A recommendation?
It was perfect timing because this is Dr. Ransom.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Dr. Ransom.
Absolutely.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Ransom comes before you just about every year to update you on any changes in our Rights and Responsibilities Handbook.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Searles Law, Vice Chair Best, members of the board, and Dr. Mitchell. As you know, each year I come before you to discuss proposed changes and revisions to the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. She knows my slides. As a reminder, our Rights and Responsibilities Handbook is a tool that helps us in our mission to ensure all students graduate citizen ready. It provides guidance for our students, our families, and our staff, and details the many options we have available to us as we address student conduct. There are several phases to our revision process. After reviewing guidelines and recommendations, we have a long-standing practice of gathering stakeholder input from multiple groups. Finally, our proposals are reviewed by senior staff. While each year we form a committee to review the handbook, this year the opportunity was open to all citizens of the city of Newport News. So in addition to the students, parents, teachers, and staff members that make up this annual committee, we also had community members with the expertise and vested interest in student success who extended their thinking to this important work. As a part of this work, the responses to student behavior were reviewed. The committee suggested the following additions as options for school administrators who are addressing level 2 challenging student behaviors: a written behavior reflection or letter of apology, and a reduction in in-school suspension from 3 days to a maximum of 2. And the following additions for both level 2 and level 3 responses, bringing the handbook in alignment with the state's mandated changes to discipline challenges related to attendance, namely that a code that addresses student behaviors that are designed to avoid instruction cannot be addressed with a disposition that causes a student to miss instruction. The committee suggested the following addition as an option for school administrators who are addressing level 4 challenging student behavior, and that was the addition of alternative placement. Level 5 responses were edited to include long-term suspension since it is an option under the law and already a current practice when aggravating circumstances exist. The committee has also suggested a level change to a specific bus infraction to emphasize the importance of maintaining a safe environment for the serious work our bus drivers do. Distracting the driver is now a level 3 infraction for elementary students. All 16 persistently dangerous behavior codes that are described in the Virginia's Unsafe School Choice Option Policy required by the federal law Every Student Succeed Act of 2015 have been included in the public-facing code of conduct. These are egregious and rarely used. However, it was the thought of the committee that there is a need to make families aware that even the most serious student conduct is addressed. We are now under the Student Behavior and Administrative Response Collection. We continue to align language to the new model. Families are empowered to better understand the appeal process, hearing process, and expected communication timeline. Administrators are better equipped to understand their responsibility regarding due process. We would like to give special recognition to the members of the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook Advisory Committee. The commitment and long hours well into the evening spent shifting the paradigm around behavior and student discipline will greatly benefit generations of Newport News schools students to come. Having a group of parents, teachers, administrators, community members, and students who are willing to become experts in the rights and responsibilities of NNPS students, listen to each other, and make data-driven decisions merit praise. I would like for any members of the committee who are present this evening to please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your work. And we have quite a few members who are watching online because they're in various places. So during our sessions, the first session we had back in March, we established norms, discussed the purpose of the committee, reviewed the revision process, and we had a discussion about rights and responsibilities, as well as introducing the S-Bar collection. During session 2, we reviewed the discipline flow chart. We looked at classroom managed behaviors. We looked at level administrative responses to student behavior. And during session 3, we finalized the changes to those level responses, which I presented this evening. And during session 4, using S-Bar data over 2 years, we reviewed each behavior code, assessing its usage, alignment to state code, and NNPS practices. During session 5, the entire time was spent on due process. Now that the expansive and exhaustive work around the code of conduct is complete, the committee, undaunted, has decided to remain a unit and meet monthly to review other systems related to student expectations. The next policy under review is the cell phone policy, followed by the dress code and the revamping of in-school suspension. In addition, the committee made recommendations regarding behavior responses for addressing bullying, cyberbullying, and gang-related behaviors that are under review. As a reminder, we will seek your approval of the proposed revisions to the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook at the July board meeting. Draft copies of the 23-24 Rights and Responsibilities Handbook will be made available to you at a later date for your review prior to your approval. At this time, I will answer any questions that you may have.
Hey, Mr. Brown, you have a question?
I'll just make the comment that I'm very pleased that you all will be looking at the cell phone policy and considering revisions to that. As I've mentioned many times in the past before, I don't see a lot of positive benefit from the use of cell phones by our young people. And so hopefully we'll get some better control around the use of cell phones in there. And then my second just request or question is there going to be an electronic version distributed to the board members so we can review this prior to July's board meeting?
So we will provide both. We will provide an electronic copy and a hard copy and it's all track changes. They will be in green for your review. I just had to choose which one I was going to get out first, and it was best to get the presentation to you first and just try to slide in. Hey, can I give this to you later? Yeah. So thank you for that.
We like the green too. It helps
yes,
us.
It's positive.
It is.
Color, some form of color.
That's right.
I have
Miss
a
Amy.
couple questions. I just want to get a little more kind of explanation of a few of the changes. Going back to level 3, what was the committee's deliberations and the rationale for pulling back the in-school suspension days to 2 days for level 3?
So as you may already know, in SBAR, everything is progressive. So you deal with things as on a much more intervention level first before you progress the response. So when you look at level 1 for in-school suspension, it was originally 1 to 3 days, but in level 2 it was 3 days to 5 days. So it was to reduce the overlap between the two levels and to continue to distinguish the two.
Okay, so level 3 is 1 to 2 days.
Level 2, so level 1 is, I'm sorry, I'm on level 2, sorry. Level 2 is 1 to 2 days. Level 3 in-school suspension is 3 to 5 days.
Okay, I think because on the slide it was below level 3, so that's why I
was
got
it?
confused.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was like, we're on 3. Okay.
So does it change for K through 2 or K through 3, and then it shifts from 3rd to? Does it shift at all as far as the suspensions?
No. Oh, the suspensions or in-school suspension?
Well, either or. I
So
mean,
for
does it shift? Yeah.
So I think, I'm going to see if I can answer this from where I think we are. So for pre-K through 3rd grade, the limit for suspensions is 1 to 3 days, unless there are aggravating circumstances.
Right.
And then they would call us and we would talk through it and come up with what the response is going to be. For students in 4th grade through 12th grade, it's going to be whatever the response is based on what's written in the book.
And can you, so I just want to make sure I heard you correctly on the same slide, clarified language for exclusionary discipline for matters related to attendance. So is that if there are matters related to attendance, it wouldn't be out of school suspension, it would be in school suspension?
So if there are matters related to suspension, it would not be
or
suspension
attendance.
at all.
Attendance.
What did I say?
You said suspension.
Yeah, attendance. I'm sorry, my brain and mouth
It's
were
okay.
2 different places. So matters related to attendance, we wouldn't do in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension because the whole point of it is to have the student in class. Mm-hmm. So what the state has said was those codes, and we're going to specifically write them in that are excluded around in-school suspension. Mm-hmm. Those codes are also like basically giving students what they want to skip school and then to suspend them or to put them in school. It removes them from instruction. So that's why we can't use that code for in-school.
And one more.
Oh, absolutely. Many more.
This
I can talk discipline all night.
For to maybe consider. In some of my conversations with administrators in the division, sometimes there are cases where you might have a student who's a frequent flyer. Maybe someone who's always in the halls during class. They're little things, but it ends up taking a ton of school resources. Has there been any consideration for something in the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook that even if these are a bunch of little things, at some point you're taking so many school resources, we've got to elevate this so you understand you can't be doing all these things?
Right. So we actually do. So in S-Barn, we coach around this quite a bit. And this, remember, we're completing our second year of this implementation. So things have been getting better even since last school year with how administrators respond to the challenging behavior. So some of the things that we are still coaching around is like getting them to actually progress their response, because sometimes interventions just don't work. So you actually have to use a different behavior response to address the behavior. So we do have things in there like BSC 15, causing a substantial disturbance to the environment, to the operation of school. So that gets used because things get progressed to that point. So we are still trying to coach them around what to do. The other thing is we have throughout our book for administrators to call us for any guidance and support that they may need when they're dealing with those types of challenging behaviors.
Ms. Alger, did you have a comment? Anybody else?
I think I'm good for now.
Mr. Brown, are you good? Okay. I think the first thing I'd like to mention is I have had the chance to speak to students a lot this year, and they are ready for, I think, reinforcement of what we say we're going to do. There are enough that are saying that they think that the leniency, which is done out of grace, is understandable, but it helps them understand where the boundaries are better. So I think from the committee, I want to thank you guys for giving us of your time in this way to help us, tighten up and have a different perspective on some of the things that were put before you. And it must not have been too bad if you're willing to come back and help us. And we, in advance, thank you for that. And Dr. Ransom, I really thank you for coordinating the effort.
Yes, ma'am.
Very much so.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to item 5.03, 2023-2024 student fees. Dr. Mitchell.
We have Dr. Joanne Jones, Executive Director for Curriculum and Development. She is here to share with you an update on the cost of student fees for 2023-24. Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Jones.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Searles Law, Vice Chair Dr. Bass, board members, and Dr. Mitchell. The purpose of this presentation is to share the student fees list as a part of board policy to inform the board, public, and families of instructional fees associated with particular courses and programs. Upon board approval in July, the instructional fee list will be posted on the Newport News Public Schools website, emailed to schools and included in the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. When developing the student fee list, alignment to the Newport News Public Schools Strategic Plan Journey 2025 was highly considered. The strategic goals that are associated with the instructional student fees are student success, enhanced partnerships, and stewardship of resources. The student fee process engages many stakeholders. It begins with the fee request from schools and departments, collaboration with supervisors, directors, and senior staff, sharing with principals and supervisors for input and feedback, and finally revising and publishing the fee list to make it public. The collection of student fees are provided for each student in Synergy. Parents and students can log in to review fees before school begins based on courses in which students are enrolled. Most fees are generally collected at the beginning of the school year at each school or through the online student fund site. However, when using the online site, there is a 4% service charge. If needed, fees may be divided into multiple payments over time. Equitable practices are always considered by providing all students with an opportunity to participate. Students are not denied resources or participation due to the inability to pay. Again, options are available for families who need assistance with a payment plan. Middle school fees are associated with elective or related arts courses. Middle school art, theater, chorus, band, and orchestra fees are based on semester or year-long courses. The fees include hands-on and digital resources such as music sight reading apps that students will utilize at home and at school. In band and orchestra, the first year's price is reduced to introduce the course to students as an exploratory option to gain their interest. High school fees are very similar to middle school fees. Middle school art, theater, chorus, and band, and orchestra fees are also based on semester and year-long courses. Choral and orchestra uniform fees vary by school and special performances. Most fees in career and technical education and ISTEM are for online resources, hands-on labs, robotics kits, and or consumable materials. Students are not charged any technology fees for devices, insurance, and use of internet hotspots. Technology fees may be charged for lost or damaged equipment. For example, if the student loses an AC adapter or power cord, it is a $20 fee. Students are required to use the official manufacturer's power cord or charger. Use of a third party and generic power adapters can possibly damage or harm the device. Also, lost or stolen devices may be charged up to $125. If stolen, a police report must be filed to document the theft. Replacement fees will be waived if a copy of the police report is provided to the school. Lost devices will be disabled and can be re-enabled if found in good condition. The replacement fee for a lost Chromebook is prorated based on the age of the device. Other student fees include driver's education and physical education behind the wheel. Health and PE students may use locks at no charge. However, if the lock is lost, there is a $5 fee. Sports medicine fees are $15 for individual hands-on kits and supplies. Students enrolled in health and physical education independent 8th block courses receive a polar heart rate monitor. There is no charge for the use of this monitor. However, if it is damaged or lost, the cost may be up to $150. Again, costs are prorated based on the age of the product. In general, lost or damaged fees for textbooks, library books, and calculators are based upon the prorated cost of the item over time. Student tuition fees for students who are out of the Newport News Public Schools School Division or state are established by policies JFAB and DFG, which prescribe that the tuition rate is based on the operating revenue from city funds and sales tax divided by the projected average daily membership for the 23-24 school year. The cost for out-of-division tuition is $6,165, and for non-Virginia residents, $11,650. During this past school year, only 2 students paid out-of-division tuition. Waivers are provided to students of Newport News Public School staff members based upon review and approval. That's it. Do you have any questions?
Do we have questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess just one general comment, and thank you. It's a great comprehensive list of fees. Just, I guess, a general comment about psychology of fees being punitive rather than prospective, and that when oftentimes, especially when you're engaged in a voluntary type of an activity, when the fees are required of everyone up front, then it becomes more of a we're all in this together type of thing, and they may treat the equipment or the things a little bit better than say if it's you're given something for free and then just penalized if you lose it or you break it. So that's just my general overall comment, that I think as much as we can in the situations where it's possible to look at a smaller cost prospectively going into an activity as opposed to a punitive cost on the back end when you have done something wrong.
So I did have one question about band instruments. I know that when we were either just coming out of the pandemic or during, we had waived those fees for students.
Yes, we waived those. You waived those fees for 2 years, and going into this school year, we thought it was appropriate to bring it back.
Okay, so what I would like to be able to see over those 2 years is the increase in band participation, which I'm hoping is what we'll see. And truth be told, if we have really seen that increase, and we think that this would be, something that would deter the students, because I know that our band programs, we have been very fortunate to build them back up here over the past couple of years, and I would not like to take that opportunity away from students. So
okay, we'll get that information to you.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, you have a question?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, I do apologize because my sound is fading in and out, so sometimes I miss something, but my question was along the lines of, it was similar to yours, for students that may not have the fee for, in particular, band instruments. How is that related to students that we will work out a payment plan? And is it the same in every school?
Yes, we do work out payment plans at every school.
Okay, and so how does the student know to relate that? How does that process work, I think is what Dr. Best's asking.
Generally, they contact the instructor or the teacher and or the guidance counselor in any of the situations. They can reach out to the guidance counselor, or if it's the art teacher or the band teacher, they can have that conversation, and the teacher will refer them to the guidance counselor or the assistant principal over that department.
Okay.
So I was asking you, so is someone telling the student, if you are experiencing a difficulty with this fee, please reach out? So someone is telling them that is what I'm asking.
Yes, and it's actually printed in the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. But we can definitely ensure that the teachers communicate that as well.
Yes, that would be really helpful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay. We're at 5.04, the attendance report, 5.05, the membership report, and 5.06, the construction report. Board members, you've received copies of these. Are there any questions at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5.07, comments by the interim superintendent, Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As always, I do have good news to share. As recently as this weekend, we found out that congratulations are due to the students and staff at Discovery STEM Academy and Greenwood Elementary School. Both schools earned the 2023 Virginia Board of Education Continuous Improvement Exemplar Awards. Discovery STEM Academy increased its combined SOL pass rate in math, reading, and science for the past 3 years, and increased its combined pass rate for 2 or more student groups in reading and math during that same period. So they have received an award from the Virginia Department of Education. Greenwood Elementary School increased its combined pass rate for 2 or more student groups in reading and math during each of the last 3 school years. The schools will be recognized during the September school board meeting when instructional staff return. We are very proud to offer virtual summer learning activities to keep preschool through 5th grade students engaged in learning throughout the summer. The Elementary Summer Learning Portal helps our younger students sharpen their skills. The portal includes 8 weeks of reading, writing, math, and social emotional activities. Parents have the flexibility to choose when, where, and how much their children engage in the learning. Participation is optional and it is self-paced. I encourage families of all grade levels to visit the Summer Learning Portal for a suggested reading list, the reading choice boards, and required reading for middle and high school students. So please visit our website for more information. Last Thursday, the School Division and the Education Foundation hosted its second annual Golf Classic at Kiln Creek Golf Club to benefit the Education Foundation's programs, including student recognitions, teacher mini grants, and the LET Scholarship. 80 golfers registered and enjoyed the 18-hole championship course. We want to thank the golfers, our sponsors, and the School Division and the Foundation's planning team for another successful tournament. And finally, I want to thank all of our students, families, and staff for a good end to our school year. I want to take just a few moments to thank our students. I know they worked hard this year, so please, students, take some time to have some fun this summer and read as much as you can. To our families, I want to thank you for your support and your partnership. I also want to extend my appreciation to our instructional and support staff for their commitment and dedication to our students and families. Thank you for ensuring our students arrived at school safely, had nutritious meals, had access to technology, worked on a curriculum, had clean and safe schools and offices. Your actions truly made a difference for our students and our families. We're looking forward to a productive summer of learning with Spark and with our student internship programs. Have a safe and happy summer, and thank you again. This concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. And we will move on to item 6, another opportunity to hear from the public. Are there any cards?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to the agenda to matters by the school board. If this were not our last school board meeting for the most part, I would adjourn, but I think we need to give board members and Ms. Managero the opportunity to address us just one more time.
Thank you. So, make sure you can hear me. It's really been an opportunity to serve on this board as well as SAGE and hear from all the students throughout this entire year. I wasn't aware of how much went behind the scenes before this year. I hadn't really looked into it, but I'm really glad to have had that experience now. Hopefully I can still stay connected with the Newport News Public Schools, the entire system, even after this. I have 2 younger siblings, so hopefully I can hear from them when they go through. Right now I have a younger sister who just finished her freshman year at Menchville, so yes. And then, so we have a student representative coming from Woodside, and I have their contact, and hopefully I can help guide them as they go through this next year so that they can have a smoother transition than what COVID allowed for all of us when we went from Zoom calls to finally in person. And I'm really grateful that we were able to see everyone then. And then I leave for the Naval Academy in a week, and I'm really excited for that. And it doesn't feel real that high school's already over, but I am ready to go to the next stage. So thank you. That's all I have.
Congratulations. All right, Mr. Brown.
Well, I'll start off by congratulating our student rep as well. Congratulations on your admissions to the Naval Academy, and you've represented students very well on this board, so I know that we're all extremely proud of your accomplishments and looking forward to your career. And as I tell all the student reps all the time, we really hope that you come back and share your experiences, share how Newport News Public Schools prepares you, or if you feel it differently, didn't prepare you, because that's how we really get better as a school division. So hope that we hear from you again soon. And it's been a great year in a lot of respects. We've got had a lot of accomplishments, a lot of good things done. We got some tremendous work ahead of us this summer to get ready for having a fantastic next year. So that being my message to families out there, take advantage of summer school, get in there, use summer school to get ahead and to catch up. Notice I said get ahead first, because that's primarily what I think summer school is for, is your opportunity to get ahead and to catch up if you need to catch up in any particular area. So I encourage everyone to be out this summer working working on their studies. My parents always told me that your job is to go to school. So to the students, treat it like it's a job. Your parents don't take the summer off to clothe you and feed you, so don't take the summer off for your learning either. So please approach it that way, and we'll have a great summer and a productive year. So see you all next year.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mrs. Alger.
Just real quick, I want to say thank you to the members of the committees, the families that have taken their time. I'd like to see more presentations. You guys did a great job today. I know I had a chance to visit the Safety and the Family Engagement Committee, and they did such a phenomenal job. So thank you to the families for your constant work and your faith in terms of all the work that we're doing together across the division. Thank you.
Mrs. Amon.
Sure. I'm going to echo something that Vice Mayor Bethany said, and that is, I always enjoy going to the graduations, and one of the things I really enjoy about it is you can see the personalities of the different schools. All the graduations are slightly different, and they're just really enjoyable to see, and the performances were wonderful. So it's just it's a wonderful experience each year. I just want to wish everybody a good summer, get some rest, and maybe do a little reading over the summer, but come back ready to learn. And to Ms. Manadera, I've enjoyed working with you on the board. Please come back and tell us how your experience at the Naval Academy is. I think it would be great for other students to hear and be inspired by what you get to experience.
Great. Mr. Hunter.
Great things are happening in Newport News Public Schools.
Indeed.
Ms. Manadero, congratulations. I told you we do great things here. Naval Academy. Right? Naval Academy, for those who are watching, that's from a Newport News product. So we look for you to come back. I do want to take time out for all those individuals who came up to the microphone and talked about, the blue collar jobs we have here, and right, and what it means for our students. I may have said this before. Newport 757 is a blue collar town. It's a blue collar city. Right? It's a different, I call it blue, it's a new collar town, okay? Maybe not blue, but it's a new. All these jobs that are out here. And when I hear these businesses says we're not producing the students to work in our type of jobs, because most of our jobs are blue collar. Most of our jobs are blue collar. So for those individuals who came up today, we need to focus on that. College is not at the moment for everyone, but if we can get someone, show a man or female to do something with their hands and they make it a living for a lifetime, right? Make a living for a lifetime. Doesn't reclude them from going back to getting that 2-year degree and then going to be another 2 and 2. Maybe they not get their 4-year degree until they're like 29 years old, but guess what? They're getting it to be the manager of their plumbing company or their electrician company. So I do get it. I think that you guys came up. I come from a blue-collar family. I was the first one in my family to go to college. So I get it. My parents made a very good living doing blue-collar work, from Philadelphia. I'm just going to tell you, we need to hear more of that. And as we continue to move our school district forward, right, we also need to say what I always hear. I told someone I was going to say this, not college, career, and citizen ready. As you know, anything this year, we need kids to be good citizens first, and then career focus, and then college if needed. Okay? So read a book, read a magazine, read your favorite story. If you don't like reading, then turn on the Discovery Channel. Turn on the Discovery. Watch it last night. Turn on the Discovery Channel, and watch something. Discover something new that may intrigue you. And that being said, enjoy the summer and have fun, and most importantly, stay safe.
Yes. Well, I'm going to start with the stay safe. That goes for all of us, physically and mentally. And so that we come back here ready to work with our sleeves rolled up. Dr. Bess says she's not hearing us that well, so she has passed on making comments this evening. but I was glad that she was able to comment on our actions for the evening. Ms. Manadero, it is a joy to see you leave us and to be prepared to go for your next step. And we do look forward to you coming back and talking to us. I'd like to thank our leadership, our staff, and our teachers for finishing strong. It was definitely a group effort, and I appreciate everyone being part of that effort. Students, I appreciate you all for keeping your mind on that which was in front of you and for finishing strong as well. So be safe and read and be great during the summer. And I wanted to just make a comment or a statement, I guess I need to, regarding our superintendent search. The Newport News Public School Board will be conducting interviews for the position of superintendent from continuing June 20th to July 5th. These interviews will be held in accordance with the Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3712. And with that, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much.